I'm Cookie Miller, and this is Worth the Wait. Join me every week as I explore profound weight loss solutions beyond just diet and exercise, because a lifestyle change starts with changing your mind. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Worth the Wait podcast. I am your host, Cookie Miller. I'm so excited to be here today. If you're looking at the title of this podcast and you're going, what in the world? Like, how did she do that? Listen, I'm really going to tell you how, okay? No joke. I'm definitely going to tell you how I lost 8 pounds in 3 days. But first, for those of you who are new, I need to give you a bit of background so you can understand the context here. So I lost about 100 pounds 7 or 8 years ago. I'm starting to lose track of the time, which is crazy. And now I am a certified personal trainer, a weight loss specialist. I'm working on a new nutrition certification. So, probably someone you would want to get your weight loss advice from. I think so. And I made a post on Instagram about my experience losing 8 pounds in 3 days. And this episode is really inspired by that post, but also by a comment that I received on that post. And I felt like I should bring it here to you guys who listen to the podcast, because I felt like you all would really get something great out of it. So this happened, maybe about 10 years ago or something like that now. It's been such a long time. But there is a med clinic, weight loss clinic type of place that was located in my area called Quick Weight Loss Centers. And I signed up for Quick Weight Loss Centers based on these radio ads they used to do. So they used to do these radio ads like lose 30 pounds in 30 days was their thing. And also, it being $1 a day was like their thing. Well, the $1 a day thing turned out not to be true. I'll let you guys know that. Yeah, like the program was like $1 a day, but then you had to buy all these supplements and all this, different types of like packaged foods and snacks and stuff that they would say that you needed and all that kind of stuff. So this ended up being a very, very, very expensive process for sure. So the first day that I went in, I worked not too far away from the office at the time. I was working in corporate. And it was definitely like my lunchtime. I knew that I was going to the appointment at Quick Weight Loss Center. And so I had eaten my lunch early at my desk and everything. And I go in and there's these, people wearing like white lab coats and stuff that come in and greet you. And like the windows are all blacked out. So it's like super private. And as soon as you walk in, there's like this weight loss board. And this board had like insane weight loss results posted on it. Just things I'd never seen, like people losing 11 pounds like in a week. I can remember the top person had lost like 11 pounds or something. So they would have like this board where they would put what each person's weight loss was for that week. So that's like the first thing that you would see. So I go to the back and they have you weigh in. I don't recall if they did measurements. I think maybe they did do measurements. I think they did measurements. And then they bring you into this room and they show you what a pound of fat looks like, to kind of get you all psyched up and everything for the weight loss process. So once they go through that part, they then bring into the room a ton of these different like prepackaged meals and supplements and like their own branded types of snacks that are like under 100 calories and things like that. Now, these meals, if that's what you want to call them, were not meals, okay? These were like, if you know someone in the military or have ever been in the military, I forget the name of them, like ET or GT or something like that. But these meals are like powdered meals and you add water and then they become meals. Like it is, I cannot make this up, okay? And if anyone has ever done like any type of weight loss clinic or something, then you know what I mean. I need you to DM me on Instagram at Cookie Miller if you know what I'm talking about. Don't leave me out here hanging, okay? But yeah, so they gave you these meals or whatever, and all of those things added to the cost, right? So their whole thing was 30 pounds in 30 days for $1 a day, basically. So like the membership or something like that was, you know, basically that. But then it was so highly recommended that you stock up on a 30-day supply of all of these supplements that ended up being an enormous amount of money, a lot more than what I thought I was walking into, okay? So I buy all the stuff, right? I get everything. I go home. They give you like this plan to do for the next 3 days, and then you come back on day 4. And if you're interested in seeing like the actual, plan that they gave me and all of that, it's on my Instagram page. You can go to it, Instagram.com/Cookie Miller, and check that out. But they give you this thing, they send you home with it, and then they have you come back on day 4. Now, when they wanted me to come back on day 4, they said, well, come back first thing in the morning, before you eat your breakfast or do anything, and blah, 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 we'll weigh you in. So I walk in on day 4. I walk to the scale. I get on the scale. I am down 8 pounds. 8. I am down 8 pounds. Do you hear me? I was like, what is this God-sent miracle? Like, why didn't I know about this before, So I'm so happy. I don't even know what to call the person, like the rep or whatever. The rep was like so excited for me. She's clapping, and it's so, it's just so liberating, because it feels like, dang, like I've been trying to lose this weight for so long, and like whatever this thing is really works. So I leave Quick Weight Loss Centers, and I will never forget, there's this place that was right next to it that had the most bomb bread you have ever tasted in your life, okay? This delicious fresh baked bread. And y'all, again, remember, I went in without having eaten. I was so happy that I'd lost all this weight. So what did I do? I celebrated. I did. I celebrated by eating bread that I shouldn't have been eating. And let's just say it was all downhill from there. I did continue with Quick Weight Loss Centers, and it's been so long that I cannot pinpoint how long I did it. I definitely didn't do it for as long as I had planned to do it. It wasn't working. If you go and look at that meal plan or whatever that I posted, you'll see that the rep, or my rep, or whatever you would call that person, was having me omit fruit. Okay. So no fruit, and then, or no fruit for, I think it was for lunch and dinner. And then like for breakfast every day, I was eating either like half of a grapefruit and 1 egg, or I was eating like a small orange and 1 egg or 2 eggs. I mean, it was just like insane. And then like my meals were very just plain, bland. I had no idea about nutrition. I didn't know what I was doing. And I did see that it worked. But I couldn't do it because I was so deprived of all the things that I was used to having and that I was accustomed to, and it was so different that it just left me having a ton of cravings. And I probably fell on and off several times before I just lost all my money, because I had all these supplements, and some of those supplements and things that I had left over, I had just like for years, in my pantry. So by the time I, was done with the program, I was either back where I started, or more than likely, I had gained weight. And it wouldn't be for another maybe 2 years, I think, until I actually went on to lose the weight. But from the time I was at Quick Weight Loss Centers, after I left and gained back the weight I lost plus some, I think I ended up putting on about 20 more pounds, which is insane. So what happened? What happened? I lost 8 pounds in 3 days. It was going great, right? And that was the comment that really inspired this episode. So I want to read it to you, and I'm not sure if she wanted me to shout out her name, so I won't include it. But she said, I found my food log and plan too. I think it worked because it was low carb, low fat, no sugar, and no dairy, plus a ton of water. So my question is, why wouldn't it work long term? I never finished the program, so I never made it to the maintenance phase where food was reintroduced. But it would seem that eliminating or reducing the bad stuff would work long term, right? And I get it. I mean, I get that she said that because that's what I thought. That's what I thought going into it. And it's interesting because she also had done quick weight loss centers, and, she saw that it didn't work long term for her because she didn't actually keep up with it. So this was my response. I said, the answer is found on most people's inability to adhere to such a stringent plan long term. You and I are both examples of that. Programs that label any main food group as bad are a problem. We should not vilify any food group unless there's medical reasoning, of course. The solution is found in what one can do consistently. And that's the answer, So what happened? What changed between the time that I went to quick weight loss centers, lost the 8 pounds and whatever other weight I may have lost, but then regained it and gained even more. And where I am now at 100 pounds down and having kept this weight off for 7 or 8 years at this point. Well, the main thing is I stopped being so restrictive. I stopped doing things that required me to restrict everything, right? Some of the things that were mentioned in the comment, it was low carb, low fat, no dairy, no, like what? So then what do you eat, right? So when you're restricting yourself in that way, that is not something that's sustainable that you can continue to do, okay? So to me, I never really feel like elimination types of diets really tend to work long term because a lot of people cannot stick to them. But what you can stick to is something that's reasonable, right? Like you can have certain things, but if you're anything like me when I was losing weight or before I lost weight, it was like I could have whatever, whenever. I gave myself no rules, and that was how I got to where I was, right? There was no boundary. And so what you want to do is set up boundaries. Try to eat more whole foods. Try to eat things that are less processed. Make your food at home. That is such a major one. It will save you so much trouble if you're able to make your food at home where you can see your ingredients. You know what you're putting into your food. You're not guessing about what you're eating. Or if you're someone who doesn't like to cook, I highly recommend like a meal prep service or something like that you can use where you know exactly, again, what's in your food, what they're using. There are so many places that offer meal prep, especially online, where you can look and you can have things delivered. There are some local places. So I would look into things like that. But trying to do things because they sound so exciting and, maybe if judging by the fact that I lost 8 pounds in 3 days, I think that if I were able to stick to the whole thing with quick weight loss centers, then yeah, I would have lost the 30 pounds in 30 days. But what these places don't tell you is that yes, you will lose the weight, but they're never saying maintain your weight loss for 5 years, right? They're not like, if you can maintain this forever. Like, no, they're not saying that. So be careful of the advertisements that you are giving into and that you're putting energy to and where you're investing your money, instead of wasting money throwing money at things that say quick and fast and, all of this. Really, invest your money into a coach if you need a coach, or invest your money into, maybe having a trainer, or invest your money into education around food, invest your time into research about those things so you can better understand how food fuels your body and what you actually need to do in order to not just lose weight. I know everyone wants to lose weight, and I bet everyone listening to this could tell me exactly how to make the scale go down overnight, right? I bet you could tell me. Quick weight loss centers clearly knew how to do it, okay? So them having me come in and do a weigh-in in the middle of the day on day 1, for example, right? And then turning around and saying, we're going to see how you're doing after 3 days. And on day 4, having me come in first thing in the morning and weigh in. Well, if you know anything about weight, they shouldn't have been they knew what they were doing, right? When you weigh in at different times like that, of course you're going to weigh less. So the thing is, I didn't even really truly lose 8 pounds. The truth is, the first day I had just eaten lunch. I had already had a meal before that. So I was carrying food in my belly. If you guys aren't sure of how, weight loss works, I want you to try this experiment for yourself, okay? In the morning or just whenever. You could do it now, okay? Get on your scale, see what the weight says. Then I want you to drink like 32 ounces of water and get right back on the scale and see what it says. Now, surely you aren't looking at that number and going, oh my God, how did I gain 3 pounds, in like 2 minutes? It's impossible. We have to remember that the weight on the scale is accounting for everything that is inside of our bodies, including waste, including food, including water. So when they had me weigh in with all of that food, obviously, that I'd eaten that day and drinking water and all of that, and then had me come in fasted on day 4, they knew that the scale was going to look different. So I just wanted to put all of this out there so that those of you who are looking to lose weight, I know sometimes, especially on a weight loss journey, it can feel like very desperate. You're just looking for something to please work, and you really want things to work, and you really want to be dedicated to the process. But I implore you, if you want to not just lose weight, but you want to make a full lifestyle change, and you want to look back like me nearly 10 years later and say, wow, I completely changed my life, then you have to be ready to commit to doing the things that you need to do consistently for the next 10 years. Everything that I started off doing when I finally, started for the very last time are the things that I still do now. I still eat mostly whole foods. I still make most of my meals at home. I still don't eat as many processed foods. I still pay attention to my portions. I am still drinking a gallon of water every single day. So those are the things that have kept me where I am at this point. And I could not imagine where I would be if I was still trying to eat these pre-packaged military style meals and, go into this place and do this weigh-in and just, I can't imagine ever being able to get here. And as you can see from the person who left that comment, who also did something similar, she did the exact same program. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So in theory, yeah, if you cut all those things, you'll lose weight. But the problem is that most people, I don't know anybody, I'm going to say nobody, okay, can stick to something like that forever. And a lot of people can't stick to it long enough to get to that maintenance phase that they always talk about. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. If anything resonated with you, please take a screenshot and tag us at Worth the Wait Podcast on Instagram. You can also tag me directly at Cookie Miller, and I will repost and share on my stories and on my page. I would love to hear any suggestions of topics that you guys want to hear next. And I will see you guys. Oh my God, I can't believe I did it again. Listen. By the time we get to like episode 10, I cannot still be doing this. I'm going to give myself a little bit of grace. Episode 10, I've been on YouTube for 6 or 7 years now. So I'm so used to saying I'll see you guys in the next video. And if you're still here listening, I want you to go and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you aren't already, youtube.com/cookiemiller. But I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.